Happy Easter, everyone! Christos Voskresik, Christ is risen. Christos anesti, Christus ist auferstanden. So, it's not actually Christmas morning. It's the Saturday after Christmas. Did I say Christmas? Easter. But like Orthodox Christian tradition, we celebrate Easter for 40 days. Like, and especially in, like my family, like for 40 days, you do not say hello, you do not say good morning. You say Christos Voskresik, Christ is risen. Even if you're writing someone like a SMS or something, right? You start out with Christos Voskresik. So it's still appropriate to make an Easter video. Less than a week later. So why didn't I make a video on Easter morning? Yeah, I think it's most appropriate to make it like at dawn, like right now. So because I was just too busy, I had so much things to do, and yeah. And also, so this is my Ostereierbaum Easter egg tree. It's a German tradition, not as popular as the Christmas tree, which is also a German tradition. Well, yeah, basically you bring in a live branch. Germans like to bring in live branches to celebrate holidays or trees. And you decorate it with Easter eggs. Some of these eggs are real. I couldn't figure out how to hang them, so I put them in nets from like a potato bag. Other ones are just little fake ones. But I think it's cool. It's been up since vernal equinox. I put it up. And this branch is cool. So I was looking for something like on the first day of spring or the day before to decorate my house with, but there was nothing green yet. That was like March 20th. And then I'm just walking home from the park and I see this branch just laying underneath another tree. This big evergreen branch. At first I thought it was fake, because it doesn't look like any kind of trees we have in this area. I don't know what kind of evergreen it is, but it's definitely different. I'll say it's even like a cypress or something, but I don't know. Anyway, this big branch was just laying there. I'm like, wow, that'll be perfect. At first I didn't even think it was real, but it is real. It got sap all over my hands. So yeah, I made a perfect decoration. So, how did I celebrate Easter? So right now it's dawn, as you can see. Actually it started getting light like 4 a.m. It's amazing. It's only April and it still started getting light by 4 a.m. At 4 a.m. I mean, literally a couple months ago, it was pitch dark at 8 a.m. So yeah, it's amazing. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna do the Easter fire. So if you're watch to the end, or probably I'll do it a little quicker. Uh, you'll see the log going on fire like I did it at spring. Um, so yeah, actually I'll start sooner. So in the background, and you can see, are the hills. My favorite place in Nizhny Novgorod, where I'm gonna go today. You make a video from there. See the hills in the background. Yeah, it's like 5 kilometers away from me. I have to cross a bridge to get there. And yeah, so that's where I'm gonna go later this morning. So yeah, they're beautiful. And right over the river, and it's really nice. So another reason I didn't make the Easter video earlier is because I'm still trying to figure out how to play music in the background. I thought it would be really cool to play music in the background. But of a video, but I still haven't figured it out. I mean, I used to have a CD player, and I could just play music on the CD while making videos. But my CD player broke. I did find a place where they have CD players. They're like 5,000 rubles. And right now, kind of strapped on cash. One of the reasons is because several of my students, we can't have lessons anymore because of the internet block, and like the region they live in, like in Moscow usually, like internet's pretty much blocked there. They said like our internet is so terrible, we won't be able to have lessons anymore until the situation gets better. So, a happy Easter. Yeah, I'm going to continue celebrating it for 40 days. So, let me talk a little bit about how I celebrate Easter. So, so my family is Orthodox Christian. My dad was a priest. I think I mentioned that. Yeah, so I'm a priest kid. And so I know like all the services, and I know how beautiful they can be. Uh, because yeah, my dad used to make sure they're really beautiful. He would not skip anything, and he would do everything according to tradition. Uh, which not all churches do. They skip things, especially here in Russia. Anyway, we'll talk about that later. So, I assume most of the people, any of the people that are watching my videos are like Orthodox, so they know all this. Because only my like friends and family watch these videos. But in case not. So, Easter is a real beautiful thing, as is spring in general, in like the Orthodox Christian tradition. So you have you have Lent for, I guess it's 47 days, because it's 40 days Lent where you don't eat any meat, cheese, dairy products, and even fish. But you still can have seafood for some reason. Well, I know the reason, I could tell you about it, but maybe for another time. And then you have the week of Holy Week, which is an even stricter fast. So, I didn't keep Lent. I kept Lent a little bit for Holy Week. Otherwise, no. I used to, growing up, even as a little kid, we would keep Lent. So we'd be vegans for 47 days. Uh, and there's a lot of other Lent periods in the Orthodox Church. So it's not just Easter, but Easter is the biggest one. So I kept Lent a bit, and I didn't eat like hit eggs or ham because I wanted to save that for Easter, and ate meat not as often as I usually do. But anyway, so I started going to church on Holy Thursday. So Holy Thursday is when they commemorate the Last Supper. In the morning services, they commemorate the Last Supper, and then in the evening, they have a very beautiful service where they read the 12 Passion Gospels, about the 12 Gospels, about the suffering and death of Jesus. So I went to that service, and the weather has been pretty good. It's been pretty much a normal spring, but early for Russia, I would say. Started getting warm already in the beginning of March, but then on Holy Week it turned really bad, especially on Thursday. So the closest church I go to, is like 2.5 kilometers away. Exactly half the distance to the mountains or the hills. And it was pouring rain, not just spring rain, but freezing rain. All right, freezing rain. And the wind was incredible. It was like it felt like hurricane winds. Like I've been in hurricanes, and yeah, it felt like hurricane winds. And literally, I had to hold the umbrella in front of me instead of over me to protect me from the wind because I was like almost being blown over by the wind. Right? It was so crazy and cold, of course, really cold. So I went to the service. The service was really nice. But that was like, okay, so I'm a priest kid. I know how everything should be done according to the book, right? And the way my dad did it, which was really beautiful. So after, between the guy after each gospel reading, you're supposed to ring like a deep bell, which they didn't do, even though they had bells. They have bells. But the most disappointing thing was like after the sixth gospel. So when they read about just before they read about the Jesus being crucified, like after his trial with Pilate, you're supposed to bring out the crucifix to the middle of the church, and that was always like the highlight of like the evening, right? And where they bring out the crucifix. Like a gigantic crucifix. Like in our church in Custermere, we had like a life-size crucifix, pretty much. And yeah, and that's such a moving and beautiful part of the service. And in this church, they didn't do that. They didn't bring it out, so that was just fun. But the service was nice. I stayed for a service, and then fought my way back through the hurricane winds. And then I listened to St. Matthew's Passion. by Bach. So Saint Matthew's Passion is basically the Western version, the West European version of the Thursday evening 12 gospel reading service in Orthodox tradition, because it's like exactly it's about the sufferings of Jesus and his crucifixion, but it's all done to the music of Bach. And Bach composed it. It was composed for it was a Good Friday service. Yeah, I don't know why in Orthodox tradition they do it on Thursday evening instead of Good Friday. That would make more sense to do it on Good Friday. But anyway, so yeah, it's about the same thing, but the music of Bach, which is super beautiful. I would recommend it to anyone, even if you're not religious. It's just a beautiful thing to listen to. Bach is an amazing composer. And like Bach said, for him, music, all his music, is like a prayer to God. Right? And like music in general is like a way to unite yourself to like the eternal and to God and all, and to bring yourself closer. So yeah, his music is incredible. So then Thursday night, what on that? So I listened to Bach, St. Matthew's Passion, and also I think I listened to Johannes Passion, and maybe on Saturday I listened to the same by Bach, but according to the Gospel of St. John. Anyway, and then Friday I went shopping. I went to the mall to buy stuff for Easter and to buy Pascha, which is basically Easter cheesecake shaped in like a pyramid, which it's like, okay, there's three traditional foods on Easter in Russia. There's kulich. Well, there's of course colored eggs, right? And then dyed eggs, and then there's kulich, which is Easter cake with like frosting on the top. It's like kind of more bready than cake, but it's like a sweet kind of bread. I don't know if you'd consider it a cake. Kind of like a fruit cake, but better and lighter. Wow, looks like it's gonna be a really cloudy day, and I'm planning to go to the mountains. That sucks. And then there's pasta, which is like a delicious, like I guess the closest thing to describe it is like a cheesecake, done in the shape of a pyramid. Um, Growing up, like in a Russian Orthodox family and kind of a Russian community, Pascha was like a must. I mean, Kulich and Pascha, you had to have it on Easter, right? But nowadays in Russia, well, at least according to my students and everyone I talk to, like they don't eat Pascha, so they don't eat it. Even though you can buy it in the supermarket, well, I found it in Auchan, not the regular supermarket, even though I've seen it sometimes in the regular supermarket. Um, yeah, but I ask all my students about like, do you have like Sydney Pascha? And that's like my favorite dessert, especially the way my relatives, man. My relatives have this recipe from back from Imperial Russia that they used. and it's so delicious and so sweet, but not too sweet, and so smooth. Like the one I bought, it wasn't sweet enough, like I remember. So yeah, the most delicious Posca that I've ever tried was what my relatives make. Anyway, so yeah, I've asked my students and they all talk about Quidditch, about the Christmas cake. All right, why am I saying Christmas? Easter bread cake thing. Um, but yeah, they don't. But they're like, no, we've never had Posca. Some of them didn't even know what it is. I'm like, I'm an American, and I know what it is. Like, no. And other ones knew, but never tried it. I found that really strange because, like, Posca was like the thing. Kulich and Posca. That's what you eat on on Easter. And colored eggs. So yeah, that tradition seemed to be kind of lost in modern Russia as far as the Pascha about the cheesecake thing. So I got my pasta and bought all the candles. So this was on Friday, and then I went to church for the taking out of it's called the Plashchenitsa. It's like the shroud of Jesus. So it's a big long like cloth icon of Jesus in the tomb. And yeah, it was a really beautiful service. As they're bringing out everybody, the church was like packed, and like everybody gets on their knees and they sing beautiful music. Yeah, it's a really beautiful service. And then I stayed for the next service. But okay, I gotta admit, it was disappointing. So, like I said, I'm a priest kid, so I know how the services are supposed to be. And I'm used to the way my dad did it, like really traditionally and really beautifully. But I gotta admit, in Russia, they tend to do things because I know I've been to our churches in America, and especially my dad's churches, the same Orthodox, Russian Orthodox church, but in Russia, they seem to do things a lot more quickly, and they skip things, and yeah, they skip things to make it shorter, and because I don't know, they don't want people to get bored or something, and they read and sing a lot more quickly, so it's not as moving as what I'm used to. Let's just say that from what I'm used to. And so there's a point they're reading the burial canon. So the priest reads a passage, then the choir comes in with this beautiful melody. Sometimes they do it quicker and a shorter melody, but my dad's church, the choir would come in with this beautiful melody, and then the priest would read, and then the choir would come in with this beautiful melody. And it was just like back and forth. The priest reads the canon about the burial of Jesus, and the choir comes in again with this beautiful melody. And it was really moving and really touching. And the priest is there with the kadila, the incense censer, and you see and smell the smoke and all. Oh, right, that's right. I was going to do the Easter fire. And so this church I went to, the priest reads, and then a woman just reads what's supposed to be sung in a beautiful melody. A woman just starts singing. Not singing. Singing would be okay. Reading. So it's like, blah, 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 not to be disrespectful. What? And then the woman comes in. Blah, 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 blah. Then blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm waiting for the beautiful singing to come in. And there is no singing. And I was so disappointed. I'm waiting and waiting for the beautiful singing that I always remember. And there's no singing. And just because they want to get it over with quicker. Just for no other reason. Because I'm sure they know how it's supposed to be done properly. For no other reason that they want to get it over with quicker. Because it is a long service. And so let's just read instead of sing. And I was personally offended how they can take something so beautiful and just make it banal like that, just reading, taking turns reading. And so, yeah, seriously, I was offended. And I waited and waited. So we're going to start the Easter fire here. Oh, wow. It comes at the end? Okay, well. Hopefully somebody will stay and watch. Oh, I was planning to do it earlier. Okay. I don't know. And so I walked out. I went to get a cup of coffee. And I figure I'll come back and there'll be some singing. And I come back like 15 minutes later. And nothing. There's no singing. Just the same blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to be disrespectful by saying that, but that's how it felt. Especially since I don't understand the language like perfectly, so some of it I didn't understand and all. And it just was not moving like I'm used to, right? It wasn't beautiful. It wasn't moving. It was very, very disappointing. So I just left. I'm like, why am I sitting here listening to people read in a language I don't, especially it's in Church Slavonic, not regular Russian. So Church Slavonic is like an old version of Russian. But I understand it, but, I have to concentrate, and I don't understand it as well as I understand English, obviously, or German. So I'm like, why am I sitting here listening to people read some stuff that I could just go home and read it myself and add the music and sing it like it's supposed to be? So I was really annoyed. And I'm like, and why am I doing this when I can go home and listen to Bach's St. Matthew's Passion, right? About the same thing, about the suffering and death of Jesus. And with beautiful music, much more beautiful than they were doing at church here. So I just left. I walked out church and left. I was really annoyed. It seemed to really annoy me how they can take something that's meant to be so beautiful and just ruin it just for the sake of to save time, right? It really shocked me, actually. So I came home and listened to Bach's St. Matthew's Passion. So this is my Easter fire. I hope you stayed to watch. I should have done it in the beginning. Maybe I'll do another video in the beginning. Yeah, I'll do a short video in the beginning for anyone who didn't watch. So yeah, this is my Easter fire like the Oster album. is a German tradition, and not just German, but Germans love to make fires on Easter outside, but there's all kinds of strict laws about where you can make a fire or even have a barbecue in Russia. And I didn't want to get in trouble. I don't need to get a fine or be locked up for like 24 hours like they like to do. So, yeah. So instead, my tradition is to make a fire inside my house, even though I don't have a chimney or a fireplace. So I burn my log on big holidays like winter solstice and vernal equinox, and yeah, I think it's really cool. Oh no, I have to open. Why did I forget to open the window again? Let me open the window too. Yeah. So this is my Easter fire. So anyway, so Friday was disappointing, but I came home and listened to St. Matthew's Passion, which, like I said, is incredibly beautiful. And I hope this is not going to... Oh, I gotta move things around because it's gonna burn my lights. Okay, good. And then Saturday morning, I did some last minute shopping. And I started, and then I started dyeing eggs. I dyed about 30 eggs. I had a lot more eggs here, but I ate most of them. So, and while dyeing eggs, I listened to Parsifal, the opera by Richard Wagner, which is like 6 hours long. So Parsifal is about the Holy Grail and the Holy Spear, and so it's like appropriate for Easter. It's like a Easter kind of Holy Week kind of opera. I recommend it for people during this time of year. So yeah. So I listened to Parsifal while making eggs, dyeing eggs, which was really beautiful. The music is so beautiful. Even just the way it starts out, the prelude, you're immediately like transformed into like another world. It's just so, I mean, it starts out so amazingly. Like you just transform to like the world of the Grail, or yeah, it's amazing. It's remarkable. And so Parsifal is a young hero who's basically, his mother brought him up. So his father was a knight who was killed in battle, and so his mother brought him up like completely isolated, living in the forest, and not teaching him any use of weapons or anything. Brought him up completely isolated so that he wouldn't become a knight and he wouldn't die and he wouldn't be killed, and so she wouldn't have to lose him like she lost her husband. But he winds up meeting a bunch of knights, and eventually, after overcoming many temptations and battles, he returns to where the Grail is and the knights, and he regains the Holy Spear, which was taken away by an evil magician because he managed to have his sorceress women seduce the King of the Grail, and then he got control of the Holy Spear. So Parsifal gets back to Holy Spear, and the rest I'll tell you in a minute. So then it was time for the midnight service. So I went to the midnight service, the Easter service, and it was funny because it starts out with a procession around the church, and there were so many people, and it was so packed, right? But I couldn't even get into the yard at first. You had to wait in a long line because there were so many hundreds of people. And then the procession starts. You walk around the church, and right after the procession, everybody started leaving. It was so weird. Usually they leave after Easter Matins, after they also sing the Christ is Risen songs and everything, and then people leave, and most people don't stay for the liturgy. From my experience in Russia, right? The average person just stays for the Matins and not the liturgy. But here, they all left right after the president. Not all of them. I would say 70% of the hundreds of people that were there left after the liturgy. There were still a lot of people. And so I actually managed to get into the church because everybody had left. I thought I wouldn't even get into the church. So yeah, of course, the Easter service is really nice. It's really beautiful. It's with really beautiful melodies and songs, and it's supposed to be fast-paced and energetic, but again, I was disappointed. They just did it so fast. It sounded like a tape recorder on fast motion, right? Does anybody even know what a tape recorder is anymore? Anyway, it was still nice, but I was disappointed. Because it was too fast, and it's just not like I remember. Yeah, it's supposed to be fast, energetic, but I don't know, it just didn't have the same feeling that I remember. So I came home, I got my meal together, I had shish kebab, and ham, and dyed eggs, of course, and all kinds of different cheeses. And so I was eating while listening to the third act of Parsifal. And so there's a point at the end where Parsifal comes in, and the King of the Grail is he's badly wounded, but he can't die, right? And he's just suffering in pain for years and years and everything. And so he doesn't want to uncover the Grail. As Father actually just died. He doesn't want to uncover the Grail because that will sustain his life, and he just wants to die because his life will be sustained, but he'll still be in pain and suffering from his wounds. And so Parsifal comes in with the Holy Spear, and it says, "Enthülle den Gral," uncover the Grail. I think, and he demands that they uncover the Grail. And then when they uncover the Grail, the whole chapel is lit up with this mystical type of light. And so I'm listening to it, and just as Parsifal says, "Enthülle den Gral," uncover the Grail, I look out, and it's dawn is coming. and the sky is starting to light up just like now, right? And my room is filling with light. It was like pitch black, like in the beginning when I started listening to the last act, and just the whole room, my whole room, filled up with light, and the sky was lit up and everything, exactly at the point when Parsifal sang out, "Uncover the Grail." So it was like perfect. I couldn't have like planned it out any more perfectly. If I planned it, it wasn't a plan. So then I went out, as is our tradition, to watch the sunrise. And so there's this beautiful, perfect spot to go across, right across the road, where there's like these kind of adult swings, like where, big long swings where it's not just for kids. And you can sit there by the canal and overlook the mountains, the hills where I love to go. And that's exactly where the sun rises. So it's facing east. And so I sat there and watched the sunrise, and it was so beautiful. And I sang the Christmas hymn. Why am I saying Christmas? The Easter hymn, Christos Voskressi, and it was really nice. And some guy who was also watching the sunrise even walked by, and he said to me, "Christos Voskressi," and I answered back very enthusiastically, "Easter Voskressi." And so it was very nice. Then I slept for 3 hours, and then I was supposed to have a lesson with my favorite student and my friend, but he was sick. And so I ate some more, and then it was time to go to the opera. So I got dressed up and went to the opera to see Prince Igor by Borodin, which I've never seen before and really liked it. I'm gonna check out Borodin's music more. I've heard excerpts from his opera and stuff, and it was cool, but this was the first time I saw the whole thing. So I really enjoyed it. Then I invited my son, of course, to go for a walk on Easter Sunday. He knows how important Easter is for me. But he didn't respond. He just responded with a happy Easter. So yeah, then I came home, listened to more music. Bach, Johannes Passion Descent. Yeah. So yeah, I had a really nice Easter. Listened to a lot of music. And spent a lot of time outside. I spent and the weather was beautiful, except for that Thursday. Even Good Friday, the weather was much better and okay. But yeah, that Thursday was horrible. But yeah, the weather has become much better. So yeah, all in all, I had a very nice Easter. And I wrote to people and all, Happy Easter. They wrote back. So, yeah. That was my Easter, and I continue to celebrate Easter. I'll continue to celebrate for 40 days. So 40 days, Easter was the 12th. So 12th of May, and the 22nd until the 22nd of May. So I'll let the fire die down now. So, yeah. Let's concentrate on the fire. You think it's about time to put it out? It's getting further down than it ever has before. I don't know, should I put it out? So I hope I don't burn down my house. So yeah, I would say I had a nice Easter, especially because of listening to. Well, that's always my tradition: to listen to St. Matthew's Passion by Bach and Possible. I was kind of disappointed about. I wouldn't even say the way the church interpreted the service, the way this particular church interpreted it, but well, kind of. I don't know. It's not the same as my dad's church. My dad has died now, and just the feeling that my dad puts into the services and the choir puts into it, and like we didn't care about how long it took. We just did everything correctly and how it's supposed to be, and yeah, our services would take much longer, and like yeah, we didn't rush anything. Uh, and yeah, it was beautiful, despite how long it lasted. Okay, so the fire is dying down. Hope you stayed for the Easter fire. I'll leave a note like when to start it. Um, if you want to just see the fire, and maybe I'll do a short video of it. All right. Okay, so um, happy Easter, everyone. Christ is risen. Christos voskresie. Christos anesti, that's in Greek. Christos is auferstanden, that's in German. And I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and are still enjoying the Christmas. Why am I saying Christmas? This is so annoying. Why am I saying Christmas? I hope you had a wonderful Easter and are still enjoying the Easter season and spring season. Easter, Easter, Easter. Why the hell am I saying Christmas? I'm looking at freaking colored eggs, but I'm saying Christmas. Okay. So goodbye, everyone. Do svidania. Auf Wiedersehen. Happy Easter.